Simpson paradox and correlation coefficients. What is correlation? What is causation? Pearson correlation coefficient and your Simpson paradox. And there was one another correlation coefficient, that is Spearman correlation coefficient, in which actually what you calculated is you get to know what is correlation, why correlation and causation are not related to each other, because causation actually gives you the cause and effect. In correlation you find out the relationship between the two, and there is a positive correlation, negative correlation, or no correlation. So we got to know exactly what these three types of correlation means and how to calculate this correlation. We required covariance to be calculated. So there are four or five techniques by which we can calculate the covariance, so that we can calculate the correlation. But major one are the your Pearson, and second one is the Spearman. So Pearson actually tells you about the covariance, I mean, gives the information in terms of covariance and how they are correlated in positive, negative, and no correlation factor. But in case of Spearman, it gives you only the positive correlation or the negative correlation. And in positive correlation, negative correlation, and in no correlation, by calculating the covariance, the range is almost -1 to 1. So if it is more closer to the negative one, I mean minus of one, then definitely it is negative correlated. If it is more closer to plus one, then it is positive correlated. And if it is zero or near to zero, then it is no correlation. Till this point, anyone is having any doubt? Okay, class. So I shared the notes on your Google Classroom, and again, some concepts of statistics and probability. So definitely probability. Most probably, I'll start in another 10-15 minutes. But before that, few concepts of statistics that is actually not defined in your syllabus, but it is very much important for the data science purpose. So got to know what exactly we mean by the statistics. Basic terminologies about population, sample, event. We got to know this. Now there is something called as sampling technique. Can anyone tell me what we mean by sampling? We had studied about what is sampling, a bit of, but what exactly we mean by sampling?
Ma'am, sampling is that from an entire population, we are selecting particular things, particular observations.
Okay, so basically, what we are doing from the entire population, we are taking some of the, I mean, subset of the population. Then it is basically called as a sampling. For example, I have a population of male and female, and I am more interested to know something related to female. So now I'll count that females. So now the subset of whole population was female. So that is basically called as a sample, and doing this process is called as sampling. Now, sampling technique basically requires sampling is not like okay, fine, I have this population and I'll simply say okay, I'll take this. No, or I'll make the subset of this. It is basically it requires certain techniques to be taken care of. So the basic technique is the first one that simply says that you have to go for this, that is the probability sampling. And if it is not probability sampling, then it has to be a non probability sampling. So what we are doing for the sampling, so we are simply saying ki if the population comprises of male and female, so we are simply saying ki we are more interested in females. So the probability of having females in that particular sample is half, because there are only two types of events that are occurring, that is male and female. So that is the probability sampling. Another one is the non probability sampling. That depends on it doesn't require anything that is dependent on the existence of that particular event. If one is, they all are independent of each other. So in probability sampling, basically what is happening, the samples from a large population are chosen in such a manner that the probability concepts are being implemented. So for example, we simply say that chances of getting a random card from a deck of 52 cards. So that is either a queen or a king or a diamond shape or a heart shape. So now that is probability. Fine. So probability sampling is basically the sampling technique in which the samples from a large population are chosen using theory of probability. And these are basically of three types. First one is the random sampling, second one is the stratified, and third one is the systematic. So class, just understand, whenever you are going for the machine learning algorithm, In machine learning algorithm, this is very much being incorporated in your algorithms. That means if I'll call some library, I hope Monica ma'am ने Python में कुछ चीजें define करी होगी in terms of library, कभी कुछ बोला होगा. For example, किसी ने अगर देखा हो तो anybody know about this? What is NumPy?
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone let me know what is NumPy? जिसको भी पता है.
Library to perform
Ma'am, Python library.
Agreed. It is Python library, but what exactly it is doing?
ma'am
Ma'am, it
like
helps in various functions, matrices and all.
It helps in various function and matrices. So basically what it is doing, it is not providing you a list of elements. For example, if I'll say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so they are basically list of elements. Rather than using the list, it works on the concept of array. Getting my point? So if I'll write something like this, my system automatically gets to know that it is basically a vector. But if I'll write something like this, इसको automatically पता चल जाएगा it is nothing but a 2D. Fine. So it works on the array and all the mathematical function, because we have to call another library which is import maths, which is basically incorporating all the functions of mathematics. That means addition, जो कि by default addition तो सब भी फिर भी आराम से हो जाता है. लेकिन for example, if I want to go for a square root, if I'll directly write a square root, it will not help me out until unless I'll call this library. So similarly, there is a library that is basically called as sklearn. This sklearn is the library that is meant for the algorithms to be implemented for the case of machine learning. So this library is very much important for your machine learning. But the problem is this is only for the algorithm calling and all that. But I require NumPy also, I require maths also, I require pandas also, because every library has their own specification and functionalities. So over there in sklearn, this word is very much common, that is stratified. So if I'll call linear regression function of from the SK library, तो automatically there are n number of arguments जिसमें एक sampling का factor होगा stratified, not called as random or systematic. So stratified हमेशा majorly मिलता है. So let's talk about what these three means: random, stratified, and systematic. So basically, random, stratified, and systematic are the sampling techniques required with the probability. That means theory of probability has to be incorporated in these terms. So what is random sampling? In this method, each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected in the sample. So right now we are in class. Nobody knows from whom I can ask a question. So everybody stands a chance that I can simply ask them, ki, okay, fine, you tell me the answer, you tell me this, you tell me that. So this is something called as random sampling. So nobody, it is not like, okay, fine, I'll always go for Niyati. No. Or I'll ask always Prachi. It can be anyone from whole of the class. That is basically called as random sampling. Then there is a systematic sampling, which simply says that every nth record is chosen from the population to be a part of the sample. What we mean by this? Refer the figure below to understand how systematic sampling works. I have a population and I just chose out to be the nth record in the so that I can simply go for the sampling. So what we mean by this? So I have a group of people numbered as 1, 2, 3. So what I did, I have a set of people जिसको मैंने कुछ groupings में divide कर दिया है. So first 4, next 4, third, next 4, next 4, next 4. What it will be taking care of. So uh, it depends on exactly from which group I want to select the sample. So over here it simply says that every second record is chosen. So क्या मतलब हुआ? 1, 2, 3 में से second one is second. Then again 4, 5, 6 में से it is, because it is one, second is this one, then third is again there, then the fourth is being chosen, then fifth is there, then sixth is chosen, seventh is there, eighth is chosen. So every second group is being chosen. Getting my point, class? So this is something called as systematic, means in a proper manner, मतलब defined है कि किस तरीके से choose करना है, ऐसे ही randomly कुछ नहीं उठा लेना है. So now if I'll say, okay, fine, every even roll number in the class will respond to this question. Now it will happen what? 1 को छोड़ दिया जाए, second will answer. Third को छोड़ दिया जाए, जिसका roll number 3 है वो रह जाएगा, roll number 4 answer करेगा, roll number 5 नहीं answer करेगा, roll number 6 answer करेगा. Now this is something called as a systematic sampling. Is it okay, class?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What about the stratified? Now, just read it and let me know what we mean by stratified. Let me increase the size. Is it okay now? Readable है?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Hanji, who will tell me? Anybody raise their hand? Okay, Nisha. Nisha, can you tell me, beta?
Yes, ma'am. When the sampling is done on the basis of some characteristic,
Okay, fine. Now we have how
common characteristic.
exactly. So Nisha is actually right. Who will tell me how many departments are actually studying data science in your class? Tell me total number of departments. This is what exactly the stratified sampling is. So I have a population of almost 36 students who belongs to different departments. So I have management, finance, mathematics, stats, biomedical science, and food technology. Is it okay, class? So six departments and computer science also. So in totality, there are seven departments. Fine. So what I did, complete population 36 students. Then I sampled out in terms of departments. Now the major characteristics is I want people from computer science department. Now this is something called as stratified. So now computers, कितने students हैं computer science के? Just tell me the number. 2, 4, 5, 6 I guess. 5, 6. So 6 students are there. Roughly 6 students are there in from computer science department. Now this 6 is basically being done by the stratified sampling, getting out because now they have the common characteristics. What is the common characteristics? That they belong to computer science department. Now picking anyone from these student is basically being done by the random sampling. That means I can pick anyone. It is not mandatory that computer science में जो first roll number रहा होगा, ये जो first student होगा मैं उसी को pick out करूंगी. नहीं, I can pick anyone. So out of 6, everybody stands a probability of chosen out. That is 1 by 6. Is it okay, class? That is something called as a stratified sampling. Clear है?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we had gone for descriptive statistics and inferential. ये हमने शुरू में पढ़ा था. So यहाँ पर अब जरा generally बात कर लेते हैं what we mean by descriptive and inferential. See class, descriptive is actually taking care of the used to describe and understand the feature of a specific data set. And it actually doesn't give you a very it is like ये okay fine अगर हम इसको हम एक और नाम दे सकते हैं. It is frequentist statistics और data science के terms पे अगर हम बात करते हैं तो what exactly it does, for example over here there is an example that suppose you want to gift all your classmates a t-shirt. To study the average t-shirt size of student in the classroom, in descriptive statistics you would record the shirt size of all student in the class, and then you would find out the maximum, minimum and average shirt size of the class. Now there is no algorithm. What I did, I simply asked from all of you, I want to present you a t-shirt, and what I did, 36 student, I'll ask, okay fine, simply let me know the size of your t-shirt. So you'll be simply telling me, okay fine, I have small size, I have medium size, I have large size, small medium large, or the number system. Now after what I'll do, after collecting this data I'll rework on it. Okay, small kitni mangwani hai, large kitni mangwani hai, medium kitni mangwani hai. So I have small in 13, large in 13, and remaining as medium. So this is what is descriptive. But in case of your inferential actually creates a model. So why this descriptive is basically called as frequentist, because it is actually taking care of the how many number of times that frequency occur. For example, if I'll say I have this data set, t-shirt ke sizes hain, that is small, medium and large, how many number of times it is existing. So 12, 12 and 14. Now this 12 is actually representing it 12 times small size is being there, 14 times large size is being there. So this is actually the number of times that particular event is present in that particular data set. Then the statistics that is being incorporated, that is basically called as descriptive. And there is no model or algorithm that actually works on it. It will just work on this. Fine. So later words, it was being defined. Okay, it is not giving us very good briefing because it is actually using the visualizations. बस हमें क्या काम करना है, हम बहुत easily बता सकते हैं कितना है कितना नहीं है. So we are just plotting it in a bar graph that simply says that we have this much of data for small, medium, and large. This is small, large, and medium. It is 12 and it is 14. So I just can depict this much of information. Now what? If I'll say another test set comes, कोई न्यू स्टूडेंट तुम्हारी क्लास में एंटर होता है एंड क्योंकि नाउ दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट इज आल्सो द पार्ट ऑफ द क्लास, सो उसको भी टी शर्ट मिलेगी. नाउ हाउ विल आई डिफाइन कि उसको कौन से साइज की टी शर्ट आएगी? कैन आई डिफाइन बाय डिस्क्रिप्टिव एनालिसिस? यस क्लास, कैन आई? आंसर इट. एनीवन? कोई बताएगा मुझे? अगर सपोज अब कोई और मेरी क्लास में एंटर होता है, तुम्हारी क्लास का स्टूडेंट कोई भी, लेट इट बी कोई भी एक्सवाईजी. So now that particular person is a part of our class and I want to present a t-shirt to that person also. Do I know exactly what would be the size of that? We cannot. So descriptive model cannot predict. So descriptive model cannot predict. So इसीलिए क्या बोला जा रहा है? It has no model or algorithm to find out exactly what prediction could be. But when we studied about the inferential data, it is a model. It creates a model. That means it is having an algorithm that actually make inferences and prediction. And we can plot it also. That means हम graphically भी देख सकते हैं, हम visualize भी कर सकते हैं और हम prediction भी कर सकते हैं. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? We have a data set. उस डेटा सेट को लेकर के हमने एक मॉडल क्रिएट किया. मॉडल ने लर्न किया कि ओके 36 स्टूडेंट, हाउ मेनी आर इन स्मॉल साइज, हाउ मेनी आर इन लार्ज साइज, हाउ मेनी आर इन मीडियम साइज. अकॉर्डिंगली अगर कोई नया टेस्ट आया, वो पैरामीटर्स जो इन तीनों पैरामीटर्स को, इन तीनों आउटपुट्स को डिफाइन करने के लिए जो बेसिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स या जो बेसिक पैरामीटर्स हमने लिए थे एल्गोरिथम को डिजाइन करने के लिए, वो इनपुट हमने उस न्यू स्टूडेंट के लिए डाले और उसने ऑटोमेटिकली बता दिया द साइज ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर न्यू स्टूडेंट फॉर द टी शर्ट इज स्मॉल साइज और मीडियम साइज. So this is something being done by the inferential. So descriptive, no prediction; inferential, prediction. Descriptive, no algorithm; inferential, algorithm, and the model has to be designed. Descriptive, you have visualization only, but in case of inferential you have prediction as well as visualization. So if I'll go for the same example, it says that if we consider the same example of finding the average shirt size of the student in a class, you will take a sample set of the class. So now it is not required that I'll go for a whole of the class. I can take small population, a sample, which is basically a few people from the entire class. You already have had grouped the class into large, medium, and small because I had defined that I have only 3 categories: small, medium, and large. In this method, you basically build a statistical model. So I am creating a model and expand it for the entire population. So now it is not like that I am just working only for those 5 people जिनका मैंने group बनाया था, जिससे मैंने input कुछ लिया to identify what their size would be. And then I created a model and then I implemented it for whole of the class because now I have a complete data set. But now that is basically the training part. Testing part will be if I have some other students from other classes or somebody else enter to my class or join my class, so another 5 students are the test set. So I'll take the same specification from them जो मैंने इस model को design करने के लिए लिया था. I'll put them as an input, and then accordingly I'll have 3 different classes, that is large, medium and small. जिसका specification जिससे सबसे ज़्यादा closely match करेगा, वो category उसके लिए belong हो जाएगी. Getting my point, class? Is it okay? अगर किसी को डाउट है तो भी पूछ लो. क्या हुआ है क्लास? आज बिल्कुल शांत बैठे हो. नो यस, नो नो. नहीं पढ़ना तो बता दो. हाँ जी. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, in the yesterday, I asked you people to kindly go for this. कुछ बोला था ना पढ़ने के लिए. एक तो नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बोला था और
Central limit theorem.
Central.
एग्जैक्टली तो सेंट्रल लिमिट थ्योरम. सो हु विल टेल मी? मैंने कहा था समझ के मत आना, पढ़ के आना. पढ़ के आए हैं सब?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who will tell me what is central limit theorem? I just want to know the definition, nothing else. I don't want you people to understand it. समझाऊंगी मैं, सिर्फ definition पढ़ना सुनना चाहती हूँ. So everybody kindly Google it. Central limit theorem. What we mean by central limit theorem?
Ma'am, if we have a population with a mean mu and standard deviation sigma, then if we take large random samples, then the sample is approximately normally distributed.
It is normally distributed. So we can simply say that central limit theorem is proportional to your normal distribution. Fine? यही बोला जाता है? Fine. Anyone else? किसी और के पास कोई और definition हो या कोई और understanding हो? Yes, class. तो सेंट्रल लिमिट थ्योरम अगर तुम जनरली पढ़ रहे होगे तो उसमें 2 टर्मिनोलॉजीज बहुत अच्छे से आई हुई है. एक मीन है और एक स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन है. तो गोइंग टू मीन एंड स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन, सॉरी, इवन गोइंग फॉर सेंट्रल लिमिट थ्योरम, for this let's go what we exactly mean by this central tendency. ठीक है? So what is central tendency and what is variability? So basically what it is saying is that whenever we are going for the descriptive statistic, now this doesn't mean that we are not going for the inferential, because if we are training our model, we are creating a model or algorithm, so definitely this central tendency will be there. Variability definitely is the spread of the randomness, but central tendency has to be there. ये तो हर हालत में निकालना ही निकालना है. नहीं निकालेंगे तो ये by default हमें मिलेगा ही मिलेगा. Means whenever I'll call some library by this name, I'll show you also. You have to get these values for the central tendency. ये जो measure of central tendency ये हमें हर हालत में निकालनी आती है. Because this actually gives us the important information what exactly the data set is having and what is the contribution. So measure of center is basically divided for the 3 parts. First one is the mean, second one is the median, and third one is the mode. So mean, median, mode, and they actually give you the summary of the data set. Getting my point, class? It summarizes your data set. So if I have something like X and Y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it is coming out to be 10, 20, 40, 80, 90, 70, and 60. So I have this data set. So by just looking at this data set, I have no piece of information. It simply says for some values of X, I am getting some values of Y. That's it. इससे ज़्यादा मुझे कुछ नहीं पता. But when I'll calculate the mean, median, and mode, I can actually describe this data set. So it simply says what we mean by this. First one, mean. Measure of average of all values in the sample is called as mean. So I'll simply do what? How do we calculate calculate the mean of a some data point? कैसे calculate करते हैं या averaging कैसे करते हैं? कैसे निकाला जाएगा class mean? Can I write it to be summation over I to n is nothing but
Ma'am, sum of all observations upon total number of observations.
sum of observation upon में total number of observation. Is it okay, class? That means my x bar or mu, which is mean. So class, understand. X bar हम हर जगह नहीं यूज करते. हमारे लिए standard format में mean का symbol is mu. So mu is nothing but taking the sum of all the observation. जितने भी हमारे पास observation है, उनका sum निकालना है divided by total number of the observation. So right now how many x के अंदर कितने samples हैं, कितनी observations हैं? N is nothing but 7. Yes, class?
7.
And your mean will be coming out to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 divided by your.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is basically the mean of the sample. Now mean, so I'll simply say the average of x is, let it be somewhere around 2.5. So we'll simply say the average of the observations in x is 2.5. So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? No matter what, the average is 2.5. Then it is called as, another thing is called as median. Median says that measure of the central value of the sample is called median. Median का मतलब क्या हुआ? That center value that is in the data set, data point, not data set, data point of a specific variable. So if I'll say I have an x, which is some variable depicting something, I have its observation numbered from 1 to 7. I have to find the central value of that particular sample, central value of that particular observation. So what is the central value of the observation? Of all these observation in x? ध्यान से देख लो. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the central value?
4.
So it is 4. Why it is 4? Because 1, 2, 3 यहाँ पर भी 3 observations है, यहाँ पर भी 3 observation है. That means if I'll say my n is equal to odd, then it is very easy to calculate my median. It is very easy to calculate my median because it is nothing but the median is nothing but the middle value. Middle value of observation. Is it okay, class? लेकिन अगर even हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? Suppose I have sample as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now how do I calculate the median of this? N is even. So what I'll do, I'll see the
So ma'am, n upon 2th observation.
n upon में this.
N upon 2
Okay, so n upon 2 is, n is how much? 6. 6 upon me 2 is 3. So
plus n upon 2 plus 1
n upon 2
and whole divided by 2.
plus 1 like this. Should this be the formula, class? So I can simply go for what I'll do. I'll simply take,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll simply take the most.
Ma'am, n upon 2.
Yes. आगे बोलो बेटा. n upon 2 आगे क्या? Okay, let me explain first. Okay, so it is, if I have this as a sample or observation, so what I'll do, I'll take the two most middle values. The most middle values are third and fourth from both the sides. So what I'll do, I'll simply take 3 plus 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 7 by 2, which is coming out to be how much?
Ma'am,
3.5.
So now
3.5.
if I'll see, so it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So now the middlemost value or the median will be lying between these 2 points. So whenever there is a even number of observation, what we have to do, we have to identify the two most middle values, take the sum of it and divide it by 2. Fine, class? Is it okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. The next one is your mode. What is mode? the value most recurrent in the sample set is known as mode. That means the value that is occurring more number of times, या जिसकी frequency ज़्यादा है. So over here
Yes, ma'am.
in this data set there is no mode. कोई mode है इसके अंदर कोई mode नहीं है, because no number is repeating itself more than once. So if I have a data set like 1, 2, 3, 3, 8, 5, 5. What is the mode of this data set? Data point in fact. Or I should say, इसको भी थोड़ा सा rework कर लेते हैं. Let it be 4. Now who will tell me what is the mode of this data point?
3.
3.
3, because 3 is repeating itself twice a time. So that is something called as a mode. Now these three values, mean, median, mode, are actually giving you the mathematical form, but they are helping you in some in inferencing something about the data set. So I can simply say that the mean of the data point is 2.5. The most middle value for the data set is 4. And the mode is 0. That means no number is repeating itself. And it is very good point. If something is not repeating itself, जरा सोच के देखो, अगर मेरे पास एक डेटा सेट है, let it be I have a 4 pointer मेरे पास कुछ ऐसा डेटा सेट है, I have X, Y, Z and W, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 2, 8, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 9, 7. So I have this as a feature. So X, Y, Z and W are basically your features, and the rows are actually giving you the serial number. Let it be 0, 7001, 7002. So this is basically the ID. 7003, 7004, 7005. What piece of information you people are getting from this data set? Apart from that, X, Y, Z and W are the features of this data set, and we have 5 IDs, that is 7001 से लेके 7005 तक. That's it. इसके अलावा हमें कोई और piece of information मिल रही है? नहीं. But जब हम डेटा सेट पे काम करते हैं, ये तो बहुत छोटा सा डेटा सेट है, so for me it is very easy that 7001 and 7004 are duplicate. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Because they are duplicates. If they are duplicates, definitely they will increase chances of ओवरफिटिंग. अभी के लिए सिर्फ ये वर्ड समझ लो. मशीन लर्निंग शुरू होते साथ ही पहला कंसेप्ट है व्हाट इज ओवरफिटिंग. अगर डुप्लीकेट्स हैं तो चांसेस ऑफ ओवरफिटिंग इज देयर. ओवरफिटिंग का मतलब ये समझ के चल लो कि जब तक मैं ट्रेनिंग करा रही हूँ तब तक तो याद हो रहा है, लेकिन जैसे ही कोई टेस्ट का क्वेश्चन आया, द सिस्टम इज अनस्टेबल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी मैं तुम्हें जो पढ़ा रही हूँ तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा है, बिकॉज हम तुम्हारा थोड़ा बहुत बेसिक्स इस चीज के साथ एसोसिएटेड रहा है, तो तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा है. लेकिन जैसे ही मैंने तुमसे बोल दिया fine, define overfitting or underfitting, now it is a totally unformed test set, so you people are not aware of what is underfitting and overfitting, so now you are unstable. लेकिन अगर वही तुमसे पूछा जाए ओके मीन का फॉर्मूला बता दो, मोड का फॉर्मूला बता दो या मीडियन बता दो, तो यू पीपल कैन इजीली टेल, बिकॉज ये तुम्हारी ट्रेनिंग प्रोसेस में हो रहा है. सो डुप्लीकेट्स जब भी आ जाते हैं, या डुप्लीकेट्स अगर डेटा सेट में बहुत सारे होंगे, तो डेफिनेटली वो हमारी एक्यूरेसी के ऊपर हैम्पर करेंगे. सो वी हैव टू ड्रॉप आवर डुप्लीकेट्स ऑल्सो. अब ये ध्यान से देख लो, डुप्लीकेट पूरी रो में है, दिख रहा है ना, 1 2 3 4. दैट मींस x इज हैविंग वैल्यू 1, y इज हैविंग वैल्यू 2, z इज हैविंग वैल्यू 3 एंड w इज हैविंग वैल्यू 4, जो कि 7001 एंड 7004 दोनों के लिए सेम है. So what I'll do, I'll simply drop one of the row and then I'll rework on it. So now actual sample were 5, but we are calculating it for
4.
लेकिन क्या होगा, सबसे पहले what I'll do, when I'll go for the summary, I'll go for n equal to 5. Everything remains the same, but after doing the analysis, when I'll get to know that yes, there are duplicates, after doing this, if they are duplicates, then I'll drop it. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, आफ्टर डूइंग द समरी एनालिसिस, स्टैटिस्टिकल समरी निकालने के बाद आई ड्रॉप इट. ड्रॉप करने के बाद आई एम डूइंग फर्दर एनालिसिस, बिकॉज नाउ आई एम डूइंग फॉर द इन्फरेंशियल मोड आल्सो. फाइन. So I require such information that is being given by the your central movements. So mean, median, mode is very much required. तो अगर यहाँ पर भी देखोगे तो there is an example. It simply says how do we have to calculate the mean and median and the mode. So there is a data set of a car जिसमें आपको माइलेज दे रखा है, सिलेंड्रिकल टाइप दे रखा है, सिलेंडर टाइप दे रखा है, डिस्प्लेसमेंट कितना है, कितना हॉर्स पावर देता है और रियल एक्सेल रेशियो दे रखा है. So this is a small data set. You have to calculate the mean. Mean का मतलब क्या हुआ? You will be calculating mileage का mean निकालोगे, सिलेंडर का मीन निकालोगे, डिस्पोर्शन का मीन निकाल, डिस्प्लेसमेंट का मीन निकालोगे, हॉर्स पावर का निकालोगे एंड फाइनली द रियल एक्सेल रेशियो का निकालोगे. It has to be column wise, not row wise. Pehli cheez, it has to be column wise. After this, taking out the mean, you have to calculate the median for all of the individual columns. Then you have to go for the mode for all of the individual columns. This is basically being done because this is the statistical data and it is giving you some piece of information in terms of statistics that actually defines and is used for my further analysis. Till this point, everybody understands that what we mean by central tendency, that is your mean, median, mode. Shall I proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll just open out ताकि तुमको पता चल जाए कि exactly what I want to tell you. And clarity से भी समझ में आएगा हम इसे use कैसे करते हैं. So it will So let it run for a few minutes and after that I'll show you what exactly why we require all this thing. Let's go for the second part. That says that we have to go for the measure of the spread. Spread का मतलब क्या होता है? जैसे कहते हैं कि कितना varied data है, कितना sparsely data presented है. So we have to get to know about it exactly कि क्या piece of information मिलना चाहिए. For example, कल मैंने तुम लोगों को दिखाया था एक प्लॉट दिखाया था. उस प्लॉट में मैंने ये पूछा था कि ये सारे के सारे सेम आ रहे हैं या नहीं, कुछ ऐसा था. There were 3 graphs for CNT, casual and registered. I hope सबको याद होगा कि एटलीस्ट इतना तो सबने देखा था. And I told you that because it is positively correlated, because the data is actually right skewed. Getting my point, class? So data kitna spread out hai dekh lo. It is not just having a smaller values, it is having very large values. Let's see. So class, this is my data set. If I'll type over here, मैंने शायद डाला हुआ है. Class, यहाँ पर देखो, दिख रहा है सबको?
Yes, ma'am.
So now it is showing you the count of instant, that is 17379. So 17379 first row में देखो हर column के लिए same है. So it is actually giving you the total number of values in each column. ठीक है? Then it is the mean of that column. देखो instant के लिए, season के लिए, year के लिए, month के लिए, सबके लिए उसने mean निकाला है. After this, there is a standard deviation. It calculated the standard deviation also. Then what is the minimum value and the maximum value in the data set? Data set का मतलब उस particular column के अंदर minimum value क्या थी और maximum value क्या थी? देख लो जरा. For instance, the minimum value was 1 and for maximum value it is 17379. Similarly, if I'll go for R, the minimum value is 0 and maximum value is 23 because now it is going for a 24 format. It is not going for a 12 hour wala format. So it is 23. Fine, maximum is this. This 25%, 50%, and 75% is basically the spread. What is the spread? We'll get to know. Now, this is the table that is actually showing you the statistical data. Okay, so it is very descriptive by nature. So it is actually telling you what exactly the information is being given by the data set. So यहाँ से मुझे बहुत clearly पता चल चुका है what is the mean of the data set, what is the standard deviation of the data set, and I can calculate mean, median and mode. Why the descriptive analysis didn't tell you anything about the median and mode, I'll tell you. Till this point, it is clear to everyone. समझ में आ गया है कि why it is being required for data science? Shall I proceed for the class? Okay. So now the measure of the spread. I'll tell you afterwards why median and mode is not shown in this descriptive analysis. So now measure of spread is basically called as measure of the dispersion. Measure of dispersion used for describing the variability in the sample. That means how sparsely, how variable, I mean how differently it is being given in the complete data set. So it is not just value that is 2 is coming every now then, 4 is coming every now then. There are multiple values. Fine. So कितना spread है that is being taken care by the या यहाँ से हमें पता चलता है what is the measure of the spread. So measure of spread requires 4 parameters. 2, 3, and 4. So first one is range. Who will tell me what is range? What is range?
Maximum minus minimum.
Simple. Every data set is having two values for sure. That is what is maximum value and what is minimum value. And this actually defines the range, which is nothing but the difference between maximum and minimum. Or I can simply say that अगर मैं मैथमेटिकली लिखना चाहूंगी तो it is x max minus x min. Now that doesn't mean कि जो x max, x is representing only the values of x. X can be any variable, any feature. This is the range. So range से information क्या मिलती है क्लास हमें? It only gives you the measure how spread apart the values in the data set. So if I'll say my maximum value is 17379 and my minimum value is 1, so I have the range written as 17378. So that means this much amount of values or the spreadness या randomness या फिर dispersion is there in the data set. Getting my point, class?
Yes, ma'am.
After this, second term is being written as interquartile range. कोई बताएगा मुझे what is interquartile range? ये quartile क्या होता है? बहुत आसान है.
When we distribute data into 4 parts.
4 parts.
Data into 4 part. कौन कौन सा 4 part? कौन बताएगा कैसे बनाऊं?
Quartile n by 4, n by 60, n by 4, and 2n by 4, 4n by 4.
कुछ ऐसा ही होता है ना?
Yes.
और उसके बाद क्या करते हैं हम लोग? हम यहाँ पे डिफाइन करते हैं, यहाँ पर Q1 है, यही लिखा जाता है.
Q1. Yes.
Then Q2 and
Q2.
then
Q3.
Q3. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So उसके अलावा भी हम इसको दूसरे फॉर्मेट में लिखते हैं. अगर मैं इसको प्रोबेबिलिटी के फॉर्मेट में लिखूं तो मैं इसको कहूंगी ये 25% है, ये 50% है, ये 75% है. ये लिखा जाता है ना क्लास?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
सो इसको रीड करने का मतलब, इसको रीड कैसे करते हैं? जब हम प्लॉट करते हैं. जैसे मैंने अभी कल तुम्हारे को एक प्लॉट दिखाया था, उस प्लॉट में मैंने रीड करके बोला कि राइट स्क्यू डेटा है एंड इसमें बहुत सारे आउटलायर्स. आई विल टेल यू व्हाट वी मीन बाय आउटलायर्स. ये सब मशीन लर्निंग में आएगा. अभी स्टैट्स अगर ये चीज समझ में आ जाएगी ना तो ऑटोमेटिकली अपने आप इनकॉर्पोरेट कर लोगे. सो इसको रीड करने का तरीका क्या होता है? एट दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट लेस देन 25% data set belong to the mean value, not greater than. I will not count it as greater than this value. Again, at this point, less than 50% data belongs to some value. We will not read it like greater than 25% or greater than 50% or greater than 75%. Now, this is actually is being given over here. यहाँ पे दिख रहा है 25%, 50% and 75%. दिख रहा है क्लास यहाँ पे सबको?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this is actually giving you the interquartile range. This is basically Q1, this is Q2, and this is Q3. So, and what is this Q2? Q2 क्या होता है? Q2 को हम लोग हमेशा मीन बोलते हैं. So if you check it out, so see 50% is 8690. 8690. Getting the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, it is 3, it is almost 2.5. Definitely, ये जो calculation करी गई है, less than 50% belongs to this particular value. And ये specifically उस column में निकाली गई है, ये calculate करी गई है. अब दोनों में variation क्यों है? कोई बताना चाहेगा? ऐसे ही सोच के देखो कि क्या रीजन हो सकता है. I'll tell you also, but just give a try कि ये दोनों values varied क्यों है, same क्यों नहीं आ रही है. और ध्यान से देख लो सब में. It is 1, it is coming out to be 0.5, it is 7, it is coming out to be 6.5, it is 12, it is 11.54. It will come closer to that particular value. Now this is your actual mean and this is your that quartile वाला. क्या रीजन हो सकता है? Anyone? सोच के देखो. तुम मीन कैसे कैलकुलेट कर रहे थे? तुम मीन निकाल रहे थे x का सम डिवाइडेड बाय n. तुम यहाँ पर क्वार्टाइल कैसे निकाल रहे हो? दैट इज अ डिफरेंट फिनोमिनन. तुमने क्या कहा है? ये वाला पूरा रीजन बिलोंग्स टू अ मीन वैल्यू प्रॉब्लम. और यहाँ पर तुम एग्जैक्टली कैलकुलेट कर रहे हो. तो दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है?
हम sample of the data.
फर्स्ट
The
थिंग,
part of
यस,
the data.
exactly. First thing, it could be the sample. Second thing, there are data points that might be duplicate, that might not carry any value. हो सकता है ना. सी ग्राफिकली तो बहुत आसान होता है ना प्लॉट करना. इफ आई से आई हैव अ वैल्यू ऑफ 0 पर, 10 पर 0 है, 11 पर 0 है, 20, 25, 80, it has 2, 4, 8. And now if I'll say this is x and this is y, can I calculate their mean? If I'll calculate the mean of the y, it is coming out to be 14 divided by 5. Yes or no? Because n is the observation and total sum of y is nothing but 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8. फाइन. लेकिन अगर मैं इसे प्लॉट करके देखूंगी तो प्लॉट पे क्या वैल्यूज आएंगी? प्लॉट पे स्पार्सिटी वैल्यू आएगी, स्पार्स वैल्यूज आएंगी. सो अनडाउटेडली my graphical representation and my calculated had certain values, because while calculating this mean like this, it will be taking care of all the values whether they are 0 or something. But over here it is not. It will plot only those values जो exist कर रही हैं. Getting my point? So now, what is a quartile? Basically, quartile tell us about the spread of the data set by breaking the data set into quarters. So 1/4 of this, then again 1/4 of this, then again 1/4 of this, then again 1/4 of this. So total 4 parts are there. Fine. So after this, if we want to calculate the quartiles, so we have to go for Q1, Q2, and Q3 are basically called as first quartile, second quartile, or third quartile, and another name as lower quartile, middle quartile, and the upper quartile. So for Q1, Q2, and Q3, so this is basically like this. So this is basically 25%, 50%, and 75%. And this Q2 actually gives you the mean. Is it okay, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Hanji, fine, class. So this is how actually we work for Q1, Q2, and Q3. And interquartile range IQR is nothing but Q3 minus Q1. And it actually measures the variability based on the dividing of based on dividing a data set into quartiles. So it is basically giving you the value upper quartile minus lower quartile. What information it is providing you, it actually just give you the same value, मतलब same तरीका है जैसे range हमें बता रहा है कितना data spread out है. Similarly, interquartile, in terms of the percentage, in terms of the quarter, it tells you how spread the data is. Getting the point, class? Till this point it is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will not go for variance right now. I'll just show you how we have to calculate actually the interquartile. एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लेके इसे सॉल्व करके देखते हैं तभी ताकि क्लियर हो जाए. I have a data set of 45, 47, 52. Kindly write in your copies also. You have to solve it. I will not solve. I'll just give you the funda. 55, 56, 58, 62, and 80. So these are the values for some data set. And I have to calculate the interquartile range. You have to find IQR. क्या और IQR निकालने का फॉर्मूला क्या है? That you have to simply go for Q3 minus Q1. बट अब हमें तो ना तो Q3 पता है ना Q1 पता है, तो क्या करें? How should I go about it? So first of all, arrange your data set in increasing order or in decreasing order. Getting my point? The first step is arrange the data set in increasing order or decreasing order. So best possible thing is we'll simply go for the increasing order. 45, 47, 52, 52, 53, 55, 56, 58, 62, and 80. So it is in increasing order, class. Then
Yes.
what is the total number of sample?
Yes, ma'am.
How many samples are there? How many observations are
10.
there? So they are 10. So we get to know total number of observations are 10. This is my second point. Go for the third point. Calculate the median of the data points. Who will tell me what is the median of the data points? Since n is even or odd? It is
Even.
even. So what we have to do? We have to take the sum of the most middle points. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we'll do? We'll simply calculate the median by 53 plus 55 divided by 2. Value is coming out to be how much?
54.
54.
It is 54. Now this is nothing but your Q2 at present. I'll tell you why median and mean are same. Right now it is Q2. Is it okay, class?
54.
Fine. Now this is your Q2. Now this is the point where the data set is actually divided equally from both the sides. So if I'll insert a point as 54 over here, so 5 value. If I'll do that, so 54 के साथ क्या हो जाएगा? 5 values are here and 5 values are there. So it is 5 values over here and 5 values over here. So basically it is doing what? Data points को equal half में divide कर दे. That is basically the median. So now calculate the values below the median and above the median. How many values are there? 5 and 5 on each side.
5. Yes.
Is it okay? 5 and 5 on each side. So for Q1, let's go for Q1. That is the fourth point. It is 47. Sorry, 45, 47, 52, 52, and 53. Again, calculate the median of this. So what is the median over here?
52.
It is 52. Calculate for Q3 again. Q3 is having a data points as 55, 56, 58, 62, and 80. What is the median over here?
58.
58.
It is 58. So now your Q3 is 58. Q1 is 52 and IQR is
6.
it is 6. So now this is 6. So it simply says by a factor. I mean this much point is actually telling you how sparsely your data is being spread out. और अगर तुम ध्यान से देखोगे तो it is not very highly spread out. 45 से 80 with some incrementing value of 47, 52 hardly कितना आ रहा है? 2, 5, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, and how much?
18.
It's 18, 62, 80, 80 minus it's 18. Fine.
18.
So this much is this sparsely data. So at max, अगर हम maximum सारी जगह पे देखेंगे तो sparseness is almost 0, 1, 2, 3 something. So maximum IQR is coming out to be 6. So this much amount of information we get to know through our statistical data. Is it okay, class? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm not going about variance today. We'll be starting with variance tomorrow because एक तो time नहीं है अभी, and secondly थोड़ा सा lengthy हो जाएगा. So till this point we get to know about the quartile, what exactly the piece of information we are getting from the interquartile range. Next one is the variance that we have to go for, and after variance this entropy से लेकर till the probability मैंने share किया हुआ है already. There is an example related to sunny, overcast and rain. So basically this is a data set where it simply says that a person want to play some kind of outdoor game, but it depends on the day environment कि sunny है, overcast है, rain है, जो भी है. तो उसके according this is the example. I want you people to kindly go through yourself. There is an entropy and there is something called as information gain. I will not teach you that because it is not in your course, and at the same time this is very good amount of information that is required for the data science. So you can go for this. Read it yourself, समझ में आ जाएगा. नहीं आएगा ये example अभी हम आगे bias theorem इन सब में करेंगे तो automatically वहाँ clear हो जाएगा. And this is confusion matrix. This I will not cover here. I'll cover when I'll be giving you the practical hand on your machine learning. ये मैं वहाँ समझाऊंगी what we mean by confusion matrix. Okay. Again, it's not part of your course, but I'll give you. I'll tell you exactly what it is because this is very much important. And then from tomorrow onwards, I'll start with the probability. And बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है probability में, बहुत थोड़ा सा है. But linear algebra, probability and stats are basically heart of the data science. So I hope सबको समझ में आता जा रहा होगा कि exactly क्या क्या क्यों पढ़ना है. Is it okay, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take your attendance now. I'm sorry, आज almost 11 हो गया है. I'm really sorry for today's class. Okay, who will tell me? Juhi,